Hey there, algebra friends. Today we are going to be talking about 9.4.1. How can I represent it? Systems of inequalities. So just like earlier in the year when we looked at systems of equations, we are going to be looking for solutions, that work for one or more inequalities. So if I tell you I want a number friends, Shinner's back here today to talk to you about 9.4.1, systems of inequalities. So we are going to be searching for solutions that work for more than one inequalities. So we're going to take a look at what that looks like. Before we get started here, I would love to know, what have you guys been making? Have you been spending more time in the kitchen, maybe helping out some family members cook up something? Do you have a favorite meal you've made so far? Let me know. I don't know if I have a favorite meal I've made, but right now I'm making lasagna, and I'm pretty excited about that. So I can let you know in a couple hours how it tastes. But let me know what you're cooking up. We are going to get started here on our warm-up. I want us just to have one place where we can kind of house all of these symbols and what they mean: dash, solid, shade above or below. So this might be a good place to maybe take a picture on your phone once we fill this out, or bookmark it or something so you can come back to it. Okay, so we have these symbols here. So this first symbol, I don't know, I kind of remember it looks like a slanty L. That's how I always remember. This means less than. All right. And so if I want values that are less than something, strictly less than, then I'm going to dash my boundary line, because that boundary line is not included in my solution because I want things strictly less than it, not less than or equal to. Because this is less than, we would shade below the line, because if something's less than, think about on a number line, right? Then those numbers come below. All right. So there's our first one. Second one, this is just the flip of that. This symbol is greater than. Again, this is going to be dashed because I want things strictly greater than, not or equal to, and we would shade above. This next one is just less than or equal. So this is when being equal to the boundary point is A-okay. So I always think of the express checkout line: 15 items or less. So if you've got 15 items, heck yeah, that is the solution. You can get in that line. That's cool. We are going to be shading below still because this is less than. And then our last one here, greater than or equal. And again, that is going to be solid because that boundary line is included. That's okay. Greater than or equal to. So we're including that boundary, and we would shade above because it is greater than. So I might take a couple minutes here and just kind of look for some patterns, right? So less, below, below. All right, so if it's a less than, you're going to shade below. If it's or equal, it's going to be solid, solid. So just kind of looking for some of those things so you can get a little bit quicker at doing some of these problems, all right? With that, let's jump in and do our first system, okay? So you can kind of see here, I have two inequalities. So here's my first one, and then here's my second one. And I'm looking for solutions that work for both of these, okay? So my first inequality in blue here Would this be dashed or solid? This would be dashed because it's a greater than sign, right? My slope is 2 over 3. My y-intercept is -1, and I would shade above. And if you are still needing a little help with that, you can just check right up here. All right, so let's graph this. Oops, come on. So my y-intercept is -1. My slope is 2 over 3. So I'm going to go up 2 to the right 3, up 2 to the right 3, up 2 to the right 3. And I like to use this shape tool to draw in my line. I just find it easier. But do make sure that I have to go back and make sure I am making it dashed so that we know that it is not included. All right, and like I said, I'm going to shade above. Now, I am going to leave my shading above pretty open, and that's because this is now a system. So that's not my end solution. This is one half of my solution, right? Now I've got to make sure it works, what part of that works with the other inequality. I'm going to do this one in pink. So we're going to kind of do a second round here. Again, dashed or solid, this is a less than, so this is going to be dashed. My slope is -1, and my y-intercept is 5. I would shade below the line since it's a less than symbol. Alrighty, so my y-intercept is 5, +5. My slope is -1. So if I wanted to make that a fraction, remember we just divide it by 1. Anything divided by 1 is just itself. So I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1. This is a negative slope, so it should be going a downward direction. And I just like to do a couple slope points. And then, like I said, if you want to use the line tool like I like to use, I've got kind of a shaky hand, so this helps me do a better job at graphing. Just make sure you're putting arrows and make sure if it's dashed, right, you got to still show us that it's dashed. And now for this one, I'm going to shade below. So let's go to that pink line and I'm going to shade below. So shading below it. Now, what is the solution? All right, so I've got two inequalities, one in blue, one in pink. The solution then is where they both overlap. So where do we see pink and blue? And maybe I'll pick purple. I love PS. Those of you who are just doing a rock star at like color coordinating everything, I just want you to know you are making my day. I'm just like, oh, this is so beautiful. But it really does help, I think, to use a lot of colors here. So where we see pink and blue is the solution. So this is the solution to my inequality, where they overlap. Okay, so there's really only one additional step here, is then to just look for where they overlap and kind of shade that region in completely. And that's that. So that's really the only difference here, guys. Those of you maybe into art, this is great. This is fun, right? It's like coloring. So that's the only change here. And we're going to keep practicing this week. And then next week we will review. And this is kind of the last step in chapter 9 here. So let's try another one. Oh, we've got some leftover, it's like pre-calc. Anybody want to look at that? Probably not. All right, so that was letter A. Let's try another one here. So again, it helps my brain to keep things color coordinated. So let's start with blue again. So blue first. All right, so our first inequality here, y is less than x plus 2, is going to be dashed because it's a strictly less than. My slope is a +1, right? If nothing's there, it's being multiplied by 1. My y-intercept is 2, and I would shade below the line since it's a less than symbol. If I want to make 1 a fraction, I just divide it by its, by 1. Anything divided by 1 is just itself. So let's go. My y-intercept is 2. My slope is a +1. So I go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And I like to do a couple of these, and then I like to get out my line tool. You want your line to take up the full space here. Alrighty, so now let's dash it up. I'm going to put some blue dashes there. Alrighty, and I am shading below. So I take my highlighter tool for this, and I'm going to shade below. So lines going down, and you can keep it kind of light. You know, I wouldn't mark it all the way in because that's not our final solution, okay? Let's go over here. Here's my pink line, my second line. This is going to be a solid because it's less than or equal to. So that boundary line is included in the solution. Slope, y-intercept, and again, I will shade below for this line. So let's go to -1. This is a negative slope, so I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, down 3, to the right 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. Okay. And then I might use my line tool. This is going to be a solid line. So, you know, feel free to solid this one in. So no dashes. Alrighty. There we go. Here, make sure we got arrows on this line. And again, it's a solid line, so no dashes, keep it solid. And we're shading below. So I'm going to shade below this pink line now. And now what region, where do you see both pink and blue? I see it in this bottom kind of triangular shape here. So I'm going to take my purple and I'm going to shade in this region. Get it nice there. Beautiful. So where do they cross? There it is. Beautiful. And so that's systems, guys. Here's my solution. I kind of like when students will tell me like purple is the solution. You know, maybe writing a little key over there is kind of nice so your teacher can tell, you know, exactly where they overlap and what the solution is. And P.S. use Desmos here, folks. So if you plop these in here, I would really urge you to use this. It's a really great tool here. So my first one is y is less than x plus 2. So I'm just going to go over here, x plus 2. So you can see that is our first line here. And we've got that graphed here in yellow there, right? You can see it's dashed, shaded below. And then let's do our second line, which is y is less than or equal to -3/4 x plus, what was it, plus 5? Yep, plus 5. So there's our second line. So you can see this one's filled in solid line there. And it's got that negative slope and we're shading below. So this is a really nice place to see where's the solution, where in this case it's red and blue. Where do they, you know, overlap? It's this bottom triangular shape. And I love on Desmos that, guys, you can zoom all the way out and see that this solution is going to keep going on and on and on into infinity, negative infinity, and beyond, right? So, you know, we're only graphing a very small little snapshot of it, but it keeps going on, okay? So, cool. Use Desmos to guide you, and that's how we'll rock and roll with systems of inequalities here, guys. Mr. Gibbon has got some homework videos to walk you through some homework. If you want to check your answer or just kind of have him on in the background, I think that's great. But got some good matching here. And as always, let me know if you need any help. All right.